Welcome back to our second interview with Vanessa Barneveld, where today she's going to talk about marketing strategies and kind of go over the whole publishing world. She is the author of This Is Your Afterlife, put out by Bloomsberry, and Under the Milky Way, put out by Entangled Teen, and available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and it comes out August 10th. We highly recommend it. So Vanessa, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what's been like the biggest difference between publishing through Bloomsberry vice versus publishing through Entangled Teen?
Well, first of all, I'm so lucky to have been published by two fantastic independent publishers. My deal with Bloomsbury back in 2014 was digital and audiobook only. With Entangled, it was a print deal. So certain processes and timelines were different. And I remember things happening super quickly with Bloomsbury because, for one, we didn't have to deal with the printing deadlines. We did 3 rounds of edits, same as with Entangled. And because Bloomsbury has an Australian office, I got to meet the publicity team, and they were lots of fun and brilliant. The team in Entangled have also been brilliant. I had met Liz Pelletier, the publisher, in person a couple of times at conferences before she bought Under the Milky Way. But with everyone else at Entangled, it's all been online and through text messages, and everyone's worked so hard to make this book shine inside and out, and I've learned a lot from them. So it's been a great ride so far with both of them, with both publishers.
It's good to hear.
That's awesome. Is it so exciting to hold the book in print?
Yes, yeah, it is actually a huge dream of mine. Well, it was a huge dream of mine to actually hold my own book, a traditionally published book. Yeah, honestly, it's like nothing, I've ever experienced. So yeah, super happy.
What was the querying process like for you, and how long did it take for you to land an agent?
With my agent, well, it was a grueling process. It was a long time ago now, but from memory, it took about 18 months to get an agent. But this was with 3 different paranormal YA manuscripts. And this was back in the day where you had to snail mail your query letter. And if they liked that, then you'd snail mail them the first 50 pages. And then if they liked that, then you had to send the full manuscript by snail mail again. And I did my due diligence, so researched agents and asked friends for recommendations. And Writers House in New York was one of my dream agencies. And when Beth Miller plucked me out of the slush pile and offered representation, it did feel like a dream. And she stuck by me all this time and has worked with me for how many years is it now? It's a long time. Yeah, she's been fantastic.
What made you decide to choose Beth? Like, did you meet her and really connect with her?
Well, at the time, Beth was an assistant to Robin Rue, who was one of the senior agents there. And Beth and I just got along so well. And eventually, as Beth grew in the ranks, she took me with her. So we've kind of grown in the industry together.
That's so nice. I've heard having that author agent relationship is so important. It's almost like dating someone. You got to make sure that you have the right views and want the same things. So I've heard that relationship's really important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So Vanessa, what have you found has been the best resource for getting your name out there and like getting your book seen by the young adult audience?
I guess you could try all the marketing methods in the world, but there's nothing like word of mouth. And an incredible supporter of mine is A.K. Wilder, or Kim. I'm pretty sure you know her. She's an Entangled author as well. She wrote the amazing epic fantasy Crown of Bones. And our publisher sent her the arc of Under the Milky Way to read for a cover quote. And we hadn't met at that point. And thankfully she loved it. She sent me voice messages in the middle of the night, which was fantastic, saying, "Oh, I love this, and blah blah blah." That was so fun for me. I'm so glad she liked it. yeah, she's been incredibly generous ever since then, and she regularly gives my book a plug on her socials, and you can't buy that kind of genuine, heartfelt support. So we've become really good friends, and I can't wait for her next book, Curse of Shadows. Yeah. So yeah, while it's good to be an advocate for your own work, it's even better if you're an advocate for others as well. Stephanie J. Scott, she was also published at Bloomsbury with me. She's a great example of that. And Eric Smith, who was also a former Bloomsbury author, who's within Harlequin now as well. He's fantastic. He's always boosting other authors as well.
Very important. You get what you put out, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that focus on connections, because I really think connections are so important.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of authors skip that step.
Yeah, we're too focused on our own work. Like, we're so focused on this, so it's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I'm an introvert as well, so I find for me it's really hard to do things like this. But to also put yourself out there online and share a bit of yourself as well, that's really difficult. But yeah, you don't have to share all of yourself with your audience, but yeah, find a way to connect with your audience, and that'll help you grow and connect with other people.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that so much. So you're in the pre-order phase of your book. What is that pre-order phase like?
I guess it's all about trying to get readers excited about your book and building momentum and brand recognition, and so hopefully when the release day comes, you open with a strong position on the lists. For my book, the pre-order started when the cover was revealed. And so I made a book trailer right away, and I've posted variations of it. I also worked with Entangled's publicity department on creating weekly countdown posts 8 weeks from release date. And right now I'm in the middle of a cover selfie challenge with my friends, where you have to transform yourself into an alien and pose with a cover, with my book cover. So yeah, well, I'd love other readers to join in as well. It's a bit of fun. Yeah, so that's one way to while away the months, days, minutes, seconds until release day. Yeah.
How long do you typically keep it on pre-order?
I think that's up to the publisher a lot. I don't know if there's a set time or a perfect amount of pre-order time. Some of my friends who are self-published, they start a pre-order even before they finished the final draft of their manuscript. So
really,
yeah,
crazy.
That's really early.
It'd be nerve-wracking. Sorry, what was that?
I said I feel like you'd have to have a lot of faith in yourself.
Well, exactly. Well, I guess it's like a deadline, isn't it? I have to finish this book because I put it on pre-order. So.
People have already bought it. Got no choice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's not incentive. I don't know what is.
So for writers and authors that don't know, what is the purpose of a pre-order, and why is it so important?
I guess it's to build excitement about the book, and I think for a lot of people it's wanting to get the algorithms up and get your book on the lists first thing, and then keep the momentum going.
To get those sales, like, because they take the pre-order sales, right, and they add that to essentially your first day, right, that it releases. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I don't know all the science behind that, but
yeah,
I'm sure there's some sort of science behind it.
Was it hard going from present tense to past tense?
Oh yeah. Well, tense is actually something I actually have a problem with. When I used to write in past tense, I would just I'd get all my tenses mixed up. So that's when I decided to write first person present. And a lot of YA books are written in first person, and for me that started to flow. So I wrote everything in first person, and then I went back and changed Yes, I changed everything back to all those alternate chapters. I changed them into past tense.
Interesting. And
Just to create that also.
the cadence is
Sorry.
past.
Yes, yeah. So I went back and changed the tenses for those alternate chapters.
Did
create
you
a point of difference as well.
Or did your publisher ask you to do that?
I did that.
Okay.
That was my idea.
I asked because we've a lot of young adult authors that we've been speaking to lately. They're saying that they've written it either in fast or in first or third person, but they've been writing it in past tense. But publishers have been encouraging them to switch to present tense. So I'm curious if that's like the new thing for young adult is writing in present tense.
No, well, the YAs that I've read for years, since maybe the past 10 years, most of them have been in first person present. And the books I grew up with were actually third person, first person past. See, I'm not great with tenses. Yeah. But yeah, it was a deliberate choice on my part to have to structure it the way I did for this particular book.
It works really well with this book. It adds to it. I feel like it adds like that different, I don't know, a different element to it.
Yeah. It was another layer of difficulty that I probably didn't need to give myself, but I think it worked.
I'm like, oh, that had to have been hard. Yeah, you go from like, first person present to third person past. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. My brain, I don't know if I'd be able to switch, but that, you went back and switched it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. So Vanessa, is there anything that you've done thus far to get reviews for Under the Milky Way before its grand release?
Well, my publisher thankfully did a lot of the heavy work with that. They have a lot of connections and readers, so they sent out ARCs as soon as they could, and reviews have started coming in, which is amazing. It's just incredible to see people actually reading my book and liking it. That's amazing. My good friend and New York Times bestseller, Pintip Dunn, she actually advised me to gather cover blurbs from other authors as soon as possible. So even as I was doing the last round of edits for my book, I sent the manuscript to a group of friends, and they very graciously read it and agreed to blurb for me. So their blurbs are what you see on the cover of the book, and pre-order publicity.
How were you able to create those relationships with people that you wanted to put blurbs on the cover?
Well, a lot of them are people I've known through writing groups that I've been a part of. I was lucky enough to be a finalist in the Golden Heart Award, and the friendships I've developed from those groups have just been amazing. Pintip is one of them, Dorinda Jones. And we all like to help each other out as much as we can. We all know what it's like to be on this merry-go-round that we call writing. So it's good to support each other whenever we can.
Mm-hmm. So we've talked a little bit about the YA audience being your target audience. Do you get any even more granular than that?
Well, I guess, my target audience, I guess, is for ages between 14 and 18, but I'm very open to crossover audiences. I'm
30 and I love the Milky Way.
Thank you.
Loving it.
That's what I'm hoping for. The mums and dads of these teenagers, I'd love them to read it and enjoy it as well. From a writing point of view, I like to channel my inner 16-year-old when I'm writing these characters and put myself in their shoes. And I try very hard not to be preachy or, to talk down to my audience. From a marketing point of view, if you're spending the dollars, you do need to know who your audience is and where they spend their time online or in bookshops and what they're likely to respond to. But I think you have to check your comfort level. If you're not comfortable with TikTok, don't try to hang out and stalk your fans there. If you love Instagram like I do, divert all your energy there, or most of your energy there, and your readers will find you wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen any impact in the community from your books? Any books?
Well, yeah, I think it's a little too early for, sorry, I think it's a little too early for Under the Milky Way. Although yesterday I had a reader tell me that she saw an alien balloon in a store that she walked into, and she immediately thought of Under the Milky Way and me, and that was really fun. It was so nice of her to tell me, and yeah, that was really cute. For my debut book, This Is Your Afterlife, which is about a ghost, one reader said it actually made her believe in ghosts. So that was a huge compliment too. So yeah, maybe Under the Milky Way will do the same for UFOs and aliens.
I'm already there.
Makes me want to research it more.
Well, here Utah is a hotspot, isn't it, for UFOs?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
I expect you to tell me.
Karlie was such a UFO fan until we read this book.
Huge.
I learned something about Karlie from reading this book.
It's funny because my husband, if you know my husband, he doesn't read fiction, he doesn't watch TV. The only thing he watches is documentaries or like podcasts. Like we're so polar opposite, which is why we work. I'm very creative, he's very business, but he believes in aliens. And so it's like, that's the one thing we can nerd out on together. So we watch like all the alien documentaries and like that. He's like a huge believer. So that's like the one thing we have where it's like fiction, but I'm like, it's not fiction because I'm pretty sure it's real. So we can come together there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a huge believer. So Vanessa, we have time for one more question. And we want to know what's like your one piece of advice you have for aspiring writers who want to be traditionally published.
Well, I'm going to borrow a line from one of my favorite movies, Galaxy Quest, and say, never give up, never surrender. But I also add that you should never assume that you know everything. So do a course, join a writing group or an organization, go to conferences, enter writing contests, and read widely. And above all, just keep writing and pushing yourself to do better. And while being traditionally published is a dream for a lot of people, you can also try self-publishing, but that takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy. I don't think I could do it at this point just yet. I know there's a lot for me to learn in self-publishing, but there are many ways to get many roads to getting published. So whatever route you take, just keep at it, just stick with it.
I love the never assume you know everything. I think that's huge for writers. A lot of times we have egos and we want to think that we know everything and we know exactly how it's supposed to be, but that's not the case. You got to learn to take feedback.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And reviews will also teach you that as well. Yeah.
I've learned so much from feedback. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Well, thank you, Vanessa. I really appreciate you joining us today. We really love everything that you've talked to us about. We've learned so much. So everyone, please support Vanessa for coming with us and teaching us about all these things today. And pre-order Under the Milky Way on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble if you prefer Barnes & Noble, and like, comment, share this video. And thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that button, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you'll be notified when we have our next video up.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.